What's up, everybody? It's Brian.
And Logan, again, hi, hello.
We're Crush Cards, and today, who are we with, mate?
We are with Anthony.
Anthony what?
Anthony Parisi.
There it is. What did you do today, bro?
And I won Rochester Regional.
Hey, first
place!
Woo! What did you play?
So I played Mekk-Knight, Musketeers. So
we saw this deck at the top table.
So friendship ended with Alistair. Caspar is now my new best friend.
That's what's up. Yeah, I had to double take when I saw you playing. I was like, what is this?
All right.
You want to get in the list, mate?
All right, so we start off with, let me start off the deck list by saying there's 3 portions of the deck.
Okay.
You got your Mekk-Knight portion, your Musket portion, and just good cards in there.
Yeah, you show us whatever you want.
3 purple, 3 blue, 1 yellow, red, and indigo. This is your Mekk-Knight core, I would say. Last minute decision was to throw in yellow. Never came up.
No.
It comes up against like Guru when you're going against like There Come the Only One or some other deck that just flips floodgates. But I liked it in there because when you're going into turns 4 and onward, you need another card to search with blue. It gets to a point where like you're running out of cards. So yellow's in there. It's good.
So you wouldn't cut it?
No, I wouldn't cut it.
Okay.
I have cut it and it works. So like I'm playing 51 cards.
That's
so that was the 51st card.
You got first place, so 51 is the new magic number.
Yeah. Leave it. All right, so there goes the Mekk-Knights, and now we have the Muskets. 3 Caspar, 3 Starfire, 2 Doc, and 2 Kid Brave.
Yep.
So for anyone who doesn't know what Muskets do, because Muskets basically they gain effects when spell or traps are activated on their column. Caspar searches, she special summons, he adds from graveyard, he discards a musket to draw 2.
Wow, look at the synergy.
So
with the Mekk-Knights.
I would lose immediately.
So the synergy between them is that like you have the extra deck monster, you have Max, and he searches out all the spells and traps, and that floods the column so you could start summoning Mekk-Knights. It's a really great synergy because one of the weaknesses to Muskets as a pure deck is, let's say they Judgment your normal summon, you're usually out of the duel right there.
Yeah.
So then you have the Mekk-Knights that come in, and you could search things like Secret, and we'll get on to later, so you can recover. So it's actually really good. In terms of like ratios, these 3 are probably mandatory. I'm playing these 2 at 2 because you're playing cards that banish a lot, so like you need to have some muskets in deck just in case for Max, and these are the 2 best ones generically. Some musket players like to run the level 4 to help make Utopia double, but I don't run that for reasons we'll see later. Essentially, Doc becomes Caspar in the later rounds because you just start adding from the graveyard. It's a grind game, usually. So now we're moving on to the good stuff portion of the deck.
The good stuff portion.
2 Phantasme, 2 Ash, the Pank, 2 Nibiru.
How often did Phantasme come up tonight?
Enough. So I was playing Spiral, and I opened like Phantasme. He made double Helix. Phantasme drew into Nibiru, and it won me the duel. Like Pank came up a couple times. Like you just summon Pank for free. It's a free summon. Ash came up once in round 7. I Ash a Reasoning against a Furnoid player, which I would have lost. I lost game 1 because of a Reasoning.
Hey.
So these cards are all good. I was playing 3 and 3. I just didn't like it because you would go against like the slower decks, and then you start drawing your Phantasmes and Nibirus, and they do nothing.
Yeah. So
like they're prime side out cards too. So now we're gonna go into the spells. So we got that is not good. We got 2 Mind Control.
Yep.
Pretty much standard. Let's see. 3 Memory. 3 Memory. They're just standard for Mekk-Knights.
Yeah.
Well, one of the best going first plays is if we have Caspar. You go Caspar, Memory. You get a purple. Caspar searches a musket. Purple sets. It's really good going first because you're just going off, and you're not overcommitting to the board. You have a weak board presence for like a Shadal. Shadal Fusion just can't really resolve like the good effect of sending from deck.
Yeah.
And like you can't get Nibiru, so it's really good. In terms of musket cards, this is probably a little controversial, but I only play 1 Cross Dom. 1. So most musket players love playing like 2 to 3 because it's a monster negate that turns its attack and defense to 0.
Yep.
The problem is when you're playing this like mix, you don't want to open this without a musket. You want to rather search it, really.
Yeah.
So it's just around. What else do we got? So we got 1 Reborn, great card going second.
Yep.
1 Mia Duel, just reborn a monster. One World Legacy Succession. This is literally what happens if you get judgmented. You search Morningstar, pitch that, you get a musket, and then you go off.
And it's your second reborn in the deck, too.
Yeah, second reborn. 3 Desires and 2 Extravagance. Now this is more of a crazy choice. So because I'm playing such a high card count, Desires becomes mandatory. That's why I'm playing a lot of 2-ofs here and there, because you want to resolve these cards. Extravagance is really good because you just draw cards, and the only real draw power you have is Kid Brave, and that's just not a good draw power. It's not reliable. So I wanted to play Extravagance. Like, if you can't afford the Extravagance, you could always play something like Instant Fusion, Super Poly instead.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, it's really good for just making sure you see cards is really what you want to see. And now we're gonna go into the traps. We play the One World Legacy Secret. It's amazing in the grind card.
Insane.
Yeah, the amount of times like if they tribute a monster off the board, you can still secrets it. It happens a lot. Like, there's just a lot of weird interactions that it makes them a nightmare to deal with. In terms of musket traps, we're playing 2 Desperado, 1 Dancing Needle, and 2 Last Stand. So Desperado is just a pop face up. This banishes 3 cards from the graveyard. I was playing an Infernoid in round 7, and he Void Imaginationed me, so he sent all of his Infernoids to the deck to the graveyard. I was able, through re-abusing Dancing Needle and Doc, banish off all of his Infernoids at the end of the game and eventually won.
That guy was one of my only losses, and I heard him afterwards talking about that exact same play.
It's kind of amazing.
It's insane.
Like, especially when you're going up against against Spiral, had this in hand, they go Souls, send a thing for cost, send Master Plan, just banish it. No.
Damn.
It's really good. And then the 2 Last Stands negate spells and traps. So
you got it all. You got all the bases covered.
Yeah, all the bases covered, and you play 2 of them because of Desires. 3 Imperm. This was my standard hand trap of choice. It came up really well. When a Spiral player like half bricked and could only make a double helix, you Imperm it ends their turn.
Did the Phantasme Imperm ever come up together?
Yes. So it actually came up against a Spiral player where I Impermed the first helix, then I Phantasmade, he made a second double helix, and then summoned the Sleeper, and then I just Nibiru'd it. It was... it's... Also, what's really good about this, you could set it, and it triggers muskets. That's really why you play the 3.
That is really strong, too.
And then we have the last 3 cards evenly matched.
In the main?
In the main, you're hard second. You're going hard second. This card is amazing. Like, it's so unfair what it does, and not many cards can really replace it. Like, Lightning Storm can replace it slightly, but like, I just think getting rid of everything is really good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
One guy I was playing with, actually Dino Miskets might evenly match off my board, so we lost everything. So it happens. Like, some people just don't understand. All right, so I guess we'll go into extra first?
Yeah, we go extra. That's cool.
All right, so because we're playing Extravagance, we're playing 3 max.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Honestly, it's necessary.
Yep.
You could, if you weren't playing Extravagance, you maybe get away with 2, but you should always play 3 max. It will come up in the grind games, and it will win you duels. We're playing 3 Mekk-Knight of the Morningstar. So, honestly, you need at least 1. You could banish 1 or 2, you really don't care. But, like, being able to search the secrets or the succession or the memory is really good in the grind game. And it's a great link, too. It points down. Also, a lot of people don't read Mekk-Knight cards. Nope. So they run into attack into this, and you go, he can't be destroyed by battle and no battle damage. Yeah, and they lose because of it, because you could come back. We're also playing Phoenix. Came up a little bit because Max points down, you could get a co-link and some draws. It's a good generic link too to play. You're playing IP too, another good generic link too. Oh,
insane, yeah.
2 never came up though at the event. Unicorn never came up. You're IP into Unicorn.
Yeah, IP into Unicorn.
Just some throw-ins. So BLS, this came up massively against Altergeist of all things.
Oh yeah.
So
it's almost an auto-win button.
Yeah. So he let me blue search 2, and then I just flooded the board with Mekk-Knight, summon BLS, attack into something, and then it's just a non-targeting banish that they really have trouble outing. Really good. Spectrum Supreme, an amazing card.
Only 1 with Extravagance.
You only need to play 1. You're only really playing him when Morningstar, when you know they could just destroy a Morningstar. Like, they maybe have a targeted or something, because he can't be targeted or destroyed either.
Yeah.
So essentially what you're playing is like a boss monster deck once you really get going, because you summon 1 link boss monster and then they just can't out it. And then you summon another one. Because you're also playing, and now for the Link 4s, we're playing Avermax.
Did you IP into this, or did you just go into this for?
Never made him.
Really?
Yeah, so IP never came up. Like, Avermax, there was a play where I could have made Avermax, but it wasn't like the best. Like, it wasn't a good play at the time, but it was the best play. But it's a great card. It's a Mekk-Knight by name, so Secrets actually matters with this.
Oh, wow,
and then
that's
if you
right.
go Secrets Morningstar, that means that they only attack Avermax with a monster in that column. So it's really hard to boost a monster up to 3,000 attack that wasn't special summoned.
Yeah.
And then you got Boral Sword Dragon, obvious.
Yeah.
Boral Low Dragon.
Really?
I still play this. This came up really well because make Borreload steal sleeper, just start stealing things. Comes up. You used to play it necessary for Colossus, but it's once again like if you're banish stuff off Extravagance, it's a monster to make that's pretty annoying out. And one Apollosa. It came up. I only made it once, but the idea is that let's say you're trying to go in for game. Sometimes you could just make Apollosa so you won't get Nibiru'd.
Yeah.
If they're telegraphing a Nibiru, so this is something that's kind of important. So now we'll go on to the side. We got the one red reboot. Honestly, it's just the Saki one of.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but it has come up in testing where I just wouldn't because I drew red reboot. 2 Twin Twister. This wasn't the main. I decided to side it for evenly matched because of Spiral and all combo.
Yeah.
So
Makes more sense.
This gets sided in a lot against those decks. Now this is the top tech card, World Legacy Awakens. Essentially what this does is IP in a trap form. And so essentially when you're going first, because as soon as people see what you're doing, they're gonna force you to go first. So games 2 and 3, you're gonna start siding these cards in. So let's say you have a Casper on the field, you set this, and then then you start playing, you cross dom something, you get a search, and then when they're set up, like let's say they have 4 monsters on board, you flip this and you quick link into max, so you're searching 4 on their turn.
Oh my god.
Like, it came up in the finals where he normal summoned Danko Seka and then got rid of it because he realized that I wasn't really caring for it. And then I made a max and kept the advantage going.
Oh my god.
What else? Trend with our going first, 3 Solemn Judgment.
That makes sense. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and 2 Solemn Strikes.
Yep.
Honestly, when you're going first, you side Solemns in. There was a play where I was messing around with Trap Trick and Waking the Dragon because of Lightning Storm, but I'd rather just play the Solemn Judgments because if you always draw a Solemn Judgment going first, you have a good hand, I feel. It's a negate. It doesn't matter what else your hand has. And then 3 Call by the Grave. This was a last-minute side-in, which honestly won me the tournament.
Really?
The amount of times, like round 8, game 2, I opened 3 Call by the Grave, Reborn and Blue, and won the game because Call by the Grave is just so massive. Like, a lot of people, like, they'll side in Drolls. Droll kills the deck, so you just have to Call by the Grave the Droll. You could just banish things. Like, it comes up in a lot of weird ways, and it's just great. And then the last card, or just double Droll for a combo.
Yep.
I came up once, I drew it against a Spiral player, and I won because they really can't play under Droll.
Yeah, they really can't.
And that's about it.
That's it. Would you change anything in the deck?
I could still experiment with the yellow. The yellow definitely could go in and out. The deck's at 50. I really think it's a really solid deck at 50 because when let's like take a deck like Guru, where it has like 40 cards and you have about 10 monsters that see Guru. With this deck, you're playing about 20 cards that do something. You have 10 Mekk-Knights and 10 Muskets. So it's just, you have a better ratio of seeing cards. And like, if you were gonna try and cut it down to 40, you really can't because then you have to start cutting things like Pankratops and Phantasme, and those just win you games to see into other things. So I think like near the 50-ish is the ideal ratio, but if someone wants to take the deck to another event and do well at 40, let me know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's cool about profiles is everything is just subject to change too. Like, this is your build and everybody can just kind of pilot whatever they want to.
Yep, and that's about it.
Any shout outs?
I'm gonna shout out to GCD on YouTube. He was the first one to ever make this kind of deck. When Max was first announced, he really like piloted this deck and it really got the gears going when we got Max like a year later. So shout out to him. Shout out to the local store that lets me test this deck a lot, even though they hate it because when you max for more than 3, it's just unfair. When you're just searching 3 cards, or when you blue search 3, it's just unfair. And thank you to all the Discords. They really helped me out with like weird tech choices, seeing what's working, what's not working. And that's about it.
Awesome. Well, congrats on first place, my man, and we'll see you around.
All right, thank you.
Take care, bro.